The Pseudo Empath Narcissists Playbook. This has been compiled from personal research and experience in multiple relationships with various females who have had a suspiciously identical relationship strategy that gave me the feeling afterwards that they were actually trying to inflict as much damage on me for their own sadistic pleasure as possible. This urged me to take personal accountability in finding the root cause of behavioural patterns in myself that allowed this pattern to play out several times in my life. Rather than claiming to be a victim, I chose to research narcissism extensively and draw my own unique conclusions to help myself and hopefully other men and women to recognise these behaviours. I believe there may even be some female game strategy book that teaches them this, because it's all so similar. And it seems to be a very widespread phenomenon that leads to men having their own economic and emotional destruction, while leaving the women looking like victims to the outsiders. Before I begin, I want to make a few disclaimers. This behaviour, or these behaviours, can be done by both men and women, but I'm talking about this from the perspective of a straight man, as well as from the perspectives of other men online. I also believe generally men have a greater capacity to feel empathy towards women than women do towards men. This is based on the cultural programming of our time, where men are raised to still protect women, while media and institutions raise women to tear men down and take pleasure in destroying them. If you're a man or a woman that doesn't fit into this generalization, kudos to you. I do not claim to be an empath. In fact, I feel very limited empathy towards most people and animals, and only have empathy for a very small circle of people that I know in real life. I actually view most people as dangerously programmable NPC automatons until proven otherwise, and I consider myself significantly more intelligent than most people. This is because I have an IQ of 135 and I don't fall victim to the mainstream programming. Although I did used to believe the moon landing was real, but we all make mistakes. Another disclaimer that looking for red flags excessively is also a problem in the dating world today and leads to self-sabotage, so please take this information with a grain of salt. It is possible for people to exhibit some of these behavioural traits without being a complete narcissist or running game or manipulating, but the red flag is in the quantity of these strategies collectively, the sequence, the order, and the strategic and unnatural feeling you pick up subconsciously when something seems too easy, too good, but you can't point why. Then this is time to reevaluate the situation with your mind, rather than with your heart or your genitals. Now that those disclaimers are out the way, let's look at the Pseudo Empath Narcissists Playbook. The first thing that they will do is come at you with a sob story. Trauma is the buzzword of these people who identify with their real or fabricated past hurts. This is done usually very early on in getting to know a pseudo-empath, and they reveal very personal information inappropriately quickly in order to garner sympathy from you and elevate their own victim status, making you feel sorry for them and more hesitant to reject or hurt them out of your own empathy. This may include stories relating to past partners, parents, friends, and you, if you are attracted to that female, may be inclined to help them and really not want to hurt them because they've been through so much. So even if you don't think you are compatible with this person, you may actually give them more chances than you would otherwise if they didn't have a sob story. If you are still susceptible to this kind of manipulation and don't recognize it when it's happening. But like I said, someone can have a bad past without being a narcissist trying to manipulate you. It's when they do a lot of these things together. So keep that in mind. I'm not saying you shouldn't care if someone's had like a tough life. Once they've come at you with a sob story, they'll love bomb you. The pseudo-empathetic narcissist has a fake persona that has no shame. They'll write physical letters, page-long texts, like novels, expressing their love and adoration for you, essentially building you up in order to tear you down later on at exactly the right time. They'll constantly message you in order to get your dopamine receptors used to that validation, like a drug. Because of the sob story, you'll be less likely to ignore their messages if it becomes too much for you or distracts you, as you don't want to hurt someone that's been through so much. And eventually, you'll actually grow to like it. You'll like having your ego stroked and think, it's about time someone recognized how awesome I am. They may even message your friends and family speaking inappropriate accolades about you as though they've known you for way longer than they actually have, making them seem humble and appreciative. And in today's dating world, where it seems to be the norm to ignore people's texts and give them as little validation as possible to attempt to boost your own social image, this can be a very efficient and alluring strategy to a lot of guys. A refreshing change. In fact, this behavior is pretty good by itself, but like I said, if combined with the other strategies in this playbook, it is nothing but the bait that they are casting out in order to hook you, reel you up, and gut you alive. After they have love bombed you, or maybe before, they'll give you the sex bomb. The pseudo-empathetic narcissist will want to have sex whenever you do. There is little to no boundaries, and they'll put on a performance like they are the star in their own romantic film. Of course, they will say they've never done those things before with anyone. And if you are being responsible and wearing a condom, they'll pressure you not to use protection. If they can, they will use this stage to try and get knocked up, so they can stay in your life and fuck it up forever. This is where they will lie about being on birth control and also wrap their legs around you like they are a jiu-jitsu black belt just at the right time so that you have to pry them off like a piranha or take a big sloppy risk. The sex bomb is also where they will further pedestalize you and try to make you feel like Ryan Gosling in their fabricated movie scene. Or maybe Peter North, depending on what type of genre we're talking about. The next thing that they do after they've love bombed you, sex bombed you, and told you about their so-called trauma is evoke vulnerability in the target, you. Given the pseudo-empathetic narcissist has shared their deepest so-called traumas, they'll try to get something out of you. Even though theirs is likely exaggerated, distorted, or completely fabricated, if you don't know this, you want to tell them things about your past that have been upsetting for you, because you want to reciprocate. Even if you are a happy-go-lucky guy that just wants to joke around and doesn't like to dwell on this type of subject matter and talk about your past traumas like it's a therapy session, you'll likely throw them a bone anyway to appease them. They want to know what has happened to you. Where is your weakest point? A part of you that has already been attacked is a weakness that they can exploit. Maybe you encountered other pseudo-empathetic narcissists in the past, and don't recognize what they are yet. So you share your story. Maybe you explain how you perhaps proposed to a woman and she rejected you, and it broke your heart. The narcissist will start pushing for you to propose to them so that it gives you hope that you will have a happy ending with her. But rest assured, the intention is to reject you in the cruelest way possible. Basically, they see it as a competition, that if they can hurt you more than the previous narcissist, they win. But before we get there, the narcissist will obviously listen to you with a fake mask of utter concern, which takes us to the next stage, fake empathy. Fake empathy is a subject in and of itself. The amount of fake empaths that are using the facade of empathy to destroy society through narcissistic compassion is what Jordan Peterson considers the greatest threat to humanity itself.
What do you think the biggest threat to mankind is?
Narcissistic compassion.
On an individual level, fake empathy allows the narcissist to make their target believe they have found someone that actually cares, that has their back, that they can trust, that they need as much as they need them, not for money, not for status, but just for love and support. The fake empath narcissist uses fake empathy as a weapon. They want to get you emotionally dependent on them. Again, emotional dependence is actually a good thing to a degree. Everyone wants to be heard and cared for. But the pseudo-empath will use this fake empathy to garner more empathy from you as you reciprocate. And to make it seem to the naive targets that they are a compassionate, loving, and caring person. So later, in the abuse cycle, they can gaslight you when they decide to flip the script. The fake empathy is used to get you to feel as though their love bombing was real. They'll love bomb you some more during the fake empathy stage, and sex bomb you as well. Your mind, heart, and balls will be in a hypnotic state, and you'll likely feel a degree of codependency and trust and excitement. The fake empathy stage is not just about talking. They'll clean for you without asking. They'll come to you and expect nothing in return. Essentially treat you like a Chad. Maybe you even are a Chad. They do this no matter what your so-called value is as a man. They'll give you gifts and basically try to make it seem like they are perfect. This will induce the required emotions in their target to get you to reciprocate. For men at least, when a woman is treating us well, we want to treat them back really well as well. We want to treat them better. When you reciprocate and give back, maybe get them a present, maybe you tell them that you love them after they've said it 100 times. You are essentially giving them the green light to show you who they really are behind their fake empath false self. The games have begun, and the script will be flipped. Just as your emotions peak, your excitement, your hope, and gratitude for finding someone great, that is when they can start to inflict the most pain possible. Maybe you were hesitant at first to reciprocate because you weren't sure they were being authentic. And maybe you waited a while, and they were willing to wait. So as soon as you start reciprocating their empathy, and their fake empathy with real empathy, their fake love with actual feelings of love, the devaluation stage begins. And it may start off subtle. One of the first signs of the devaluation stage beginning is stonewalling. The frequent texts of adoration are now vacant. Finally, the overbearing narcissist has left you an opening to make a move. It's now midday, where usually you'd have received dozens of messages, so you decide to reach out and message them first. This is met with silence. While previously you were relieved that your partner was not playing games by slow texting, you feel perfectly confident that you'll get a positive response. Wrong. This is a deliberate strategy. The narcissist will wait until you show vulnerability. Do something like express love, reciprocate a gift, or maybe it's a special occasion, a special date, Valentine's Day, something like that you're both looking forward to coming up really soon. And for no reason whatsoever, you'll be blatantly ignored, like you're nothing. This can last for hours or days. And if you do eventually get a response, which you likely will, it will be blunt and shallow. After they've chased you, love-bombed you, invaded your friendship group and your family group, initiated contact with you 1,000 times over, they'll likely accuse you of being that the one is obsessed for double texting you a few times when they were ignoring you. This is a subtle form of gaslighting, and if you persist at this stage, you'll receive a fuse blow. If you don't reach out, you'll also receive a fuse blow for not caring enough. At this stage, it almost feels like you're talking to another person. You may even think your partner has been kidnapped or someone has hacked their phone. A complete bipolar 180, a split personality. You might even be concerned for their mental health and ask about it, and they'll take that as an insult and lash out further. The bottom line here is that they want you to feel miserable. They want you to feel how they feel going through life without any meaningful connections, as they are just putting up a front. So the fuse blowing stage usually follows the stonewalling. While yesterday you were Giga Chad, Ryan Gosling, that could do no wrong, you are now a creepy weirdo that is basically stalking her because you messaged her a couple of times. You messaged her first, for the first time ever perhaps. Ick. You'll still receive a wall of text. Instead of adoration and praise, it will be a list of your supposed flaws. The vulnerabilities that were pulled out of you during the vulnerability test stage are now weaponized against you. You mentioned you were insecure about your teeth not being straight. Now she's saying you have an ugly, creepy smile and that you look like Austin Powers. Oh, now you're getting mad at this? Now you're getting mad at the abuse? Guess what? Now you're the abuser for getting angry, especially as a guy. Further gaslighting. You questioned why she's doing this after all of the love bombing just yesterday. She denies it. She never said she loved you, even though it was by a text message and you can read it. So while you're confused, wondering what the fuck is going on in this person's head, they'll start triangulating you. Now she's probably posting on social media, hanging out with her friends, maybe her male friends. If you live together, she's now ignoring you and treating your dog like Ryan Gosling, probably even tickling its balls. You can sit in the corner like a good boy, and if you call her out, you're jealous, insecure, and abusive. Gaslighting. Of course, this is all a form of gaslighting. This is where a lot of men will crumble. They'll try to make things better, only to make it worse. This is where a lot of simps will propose, buy things, or try to surprise her with roses or some other lame blue-pilled shit. If you tell her to go fuck herself, she'll likely feel rejected and want to lure you back in. Not to have a relationship though, but so she can reject you. Again. And win in a game that only she is playing. See, narcissistic women don't like bad boys. They just like to win, and they enjoy playing the game, and they chase men that reject them, only so they can reject the guy later. It might take them longer to break down the so-called bad boys. They do this because narcissists are very sensitive to rejection, and this is what defines how they relate to themselves, other people, and the world. But they don't want people to know that, so they wear a mask. So during this stage, the narcissist will probably have a fake smile, but it might also be partially real. The narcissist will be fueled while you are being ignored, gaslit, and triangulated. The narcissist will feel important, superior, and smarter. Even though they're angry, they'll have a fake smile, a smirk, knowing that they brought someone else misery. And the most screwed up thing about this is that they try and make it seem to the outside world that they're the exact opposite of what they are. So what can you do in this stage? When you're going through this, the best thing to do here is to be blunt and equally rude back without losing your temper. Don't be too nice, and don't do anything that will get you in trouble, because that is actually their main goal. They want you to publicly lose your temper, break the law, do something stupid so that you can be the bad person, so that they can be seen as the empathic, helpless victim and feed their narcissistic, false ego identity, their false empath ego identity. After this stage is played out, you might get an apology, a fake apology, a confessional hoover. Oh, I'm so sorry I'm like this. I know I'm like this. I'm trying to be better. I've heard that from so many girls now. It's like ridiculous. It's almost like it's in, like I said before, it's almost like it's in a book for them that they read to learn how to manipulate guys. But when something gets so played out, it becomes useless. I don't know if this is what therapists are telling women to say, because it seems to be like a lot of the crazy ones that do this that might go to therapy. And yeah, so they'll basically play out this whole cycle from start to finish again, from the, oh, I'm a victim again, here's my sob story, in the confessional hoover, I'm sorry I'm like this, it's because of my insert sob story here, and then they'll love bomb you, sex bomb you, and repeat the whole cycle until you give in to the demands. But guess what? If you give in to the demands, it will repeat again, and it will get worse again. So once things have blown up, you'll likely experience a smear campaign where the pseudo-empathetic narcissist will try and smear your name and your reputation for committing the crime of trying to help them when they explained their sob story to you and thinking that you were in a good relationship with them. They'll punish you. This is how sick these people are. And the only thing that you can do is go no contact and take the red pill. See, I went through this kind of stuff when I was like 18, but I didn't recognize the patterns. I didn't recognize the patterns like I do now. And that led me to the red pill. And, the red pill led me into looking into narcissism and that kind of a subject. And I do take it with a grain of salt because psychology is a soft science. It's not even a science, it's a philosophy. But I guess if you have behavioral categorizations for things like this, they do have some use. But I don't really like the amount that the term narcissist is used in today's vernacular. It's overused, particularly by people like Dr. Romani, who uses it to describe anything to do with a successful man, basically. So this was basically the Pseudo Empath's Playbook. You know, I could have called it something else: the Pseudo Victim, the Pseudo Altruistic Narcissist. But I think the Pseudo Empath Narcissist Playbook is the most accurate title I could have come up with for this. I know it was a long one. I hope my boring, monotone voice didn't bore you too much, but you know, it's all I've got. Anyways, thanks for listening. See you in the next one. Ciao.